welcome to On the Other Hoof. We are back because we had so much fun last night. So we're going to preview the 1,000 Guineas for you, and well, the first four races at Newmarket, as we're going to affectionately know it as. So basically, all the races on Channel 4 we shall be looking at. We had a fairly good day today, I think. All four of us, including Adam, who may join us halfway through this video, we all back Night of Thunder at good prices. And you can't really call it after timing really, because we did give Night of Thunder very positive mentions, all of us, last night. So well done, guys. I'm proud of every one of us, and my bank account says thank you as well. But my name's Luke, and thank you for joining us. The other two guys are Michael Andrews and Callum Medell. I know Callum was very keen to cover tomorrow's racing, and so we'll get stuck straight into it. 205 at Newmarket. There's a fairly well-backed favourite at the moment that I know myself and Callum like in Cafe Society, and this horse it's made Jamie Spencer be called every name under the sun. Even when Martin Lane rode it at Ascot, Jamie Spencer still got the blame for the bad ride. But it's been gelded this year, so Callum, I know you're very sweet on it, so I'll let you have a go at Cafe Society.
Yeah, it's a horse that I liked quite a lot throughout last season. I think I followed him throughout the whole season and wasn't particularly, well, he was quite expensive to follow because he traded in running very low numerous times, particularly when he was second to Bold Sniper at Ascot, where Jamie Spencer absolutely was cantering on him and just didn't find the sufficient what he needed to win the race. And I think he's beat by a quarter of a length. He's got really strong handicap form, second to Winterlude at Lingfield, which Winterlude was a little bit disappointing in Maidan, but he's still a really good horse. And the fifth excellent result, who's now a Group 1 winner in a strong handicap at Ascot, again in strong form. But he's been gelded over the winter, and I read something from David Simcox saying that the horse is a hell of a lot stronger and fitter now. And basically, he was making his jockeys look bad in the fact he's just a very weak, leggy type. And I think the ground should be fine from tomorrow. The trip is absolutely fine, and I really think he's going to win and win well tomorrow. I think 4-1 is getting a little short, but I cannot see him beat tomorrow, and that's a massive statement to make. But I think he's got a huge chance.
One thing I wanted to throw at you about his last run: do you think Lingfield is really his track?
No, I don't think so. I think that was a strange race, and it was run at quite a strange pace, and they went for home quite a way out, and I think it was strange. It didn't really suit his sort of style of just dawdling along, and then he can use how well he travels into a race and then kicking on. I think the winner is a really, really nice horse for the all-weather in particular. So I think it's strong form, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on Cafe Society. I was probably culprit of calling Jamie Spencer one or two rude names last year, but looking through the other contenders, I quite like Backman Heron, just because I've always liked that horse. He always seems to run a brilliant race as well, and he's obviously fit from the All-Weather Championship, so maybe at 16-1 he could go well, but Cafe Society, off a mark of 90, I'd be surprised if he couldn't do some damage off of that mark. Michael, have you got any strong fancies or inclinations in this?
It's another handicap, but I don't know. It's not as good as the first one that happened today. For me, I do like Banking Hanaharian. I've actually found out how to pronounce it now. But the one that I quite like in this is Mighty Yar, who ran, well, you could say poorly, to be honest. His return to action last time, but that was a listed race, and the second of that, Earth Amber has come out and been second to Tac de Boistron last time, so that form has been franked. It's not a weak listed race. Could have needed that. Ryan Moore takes over now for Lady Cecil. I think that's plenty of positives. Of the others, I must admit I did follow Buckland a lot last year and progressed like an enormous amount. I'm not sure. I think he'll need the run today. But he could be one that will pop up again in a decent handicap or possibly a listed race. He ran really well. I think he beat Universal on the all-weather last season.
Yeah.
Of the others, I really don't know how to weigh up Amrilar's form because his best run came behind a horse called Sungate, I believe, Zane Eagle at Newmarket one time. That was subject to Gerard Butler's interesting trial. But I'm not really sure about Amralat, but he is a little bit of a worry because his best run did come here over this course and distance. But for me, it would be Mighty Yar and Mighty Yar in this race. Yeah.
Cracking name as well, Mighty Yar.
Yeah.
Let's think of Steve the Pirate from Dodgeball whenever that comes on. Mighty Yar. Moving quickly on from that horrible impersonation of Steve to the Dahlia Stakes. I have a feeling Adam might be here. The Fillies race, and this looks all about integral, whatever way you look at it. But Michael, you definitely tweeted about Quaduna, but do you actually fancy or give it a chance tomorrow?
I must admit, 16-1 is a ridiculous price for this horse. This isn't the most impressive horse. I better do a bit of advertising for the company I work for. German Racing Review has Caduna's 3 of Caduna's race. I think I commentated on her maiden success, but there are some really good commentators on there, and I think her last win last month was commentated on by a French commentator called Patrick. I can't remember what his surname is. Yeah, Kaduna, you can watch 3 of her races on there, 2 of her wins for, I think, 1 race is £2.40. That includes a breeding, the pedigree, race analysis, everything like that. So it's a really good deal. You can buy packages as well. So there's my bit of advertising. But I'll tell you about Kaduna anyway, so you might not even need to buy that. Basically, she beat 2 very good horses on a return to action in very workmanlike fashion. Maidel beat a horse called Siluna, who won 3 races last year, and also Daksha, who's gone on and won a Group 3 in France since. I had it up a couple of seconds ago. Chantilly, the Prix Allée France, won that by short neck, I think that says. So I think that form has really, really been franked, and Kaduna shouldn't be that price, just because they're German. Andreas Voll is very good at bringing horses over here. But I do like Integral. I fancied her a lot at the Coral Eclipse meeting when I was there, and I was so impressed that day. Then she dead heated, didn't she, with Ladies First, I think the horse was called.
Ryan Moore actually said that day as well that he didn't give it his best ride.
Yeah.
I think you've got to beat Integral. 11-8 is a very fair price, but there's definitely value in second and in third. There's 8 horses. Zariga won in, again, workmanlike fashion, and Odilese, I'm not really sure how you pronounce that one, was a decent second in Ireland. So there's depth in this race, but I think Kaduna has been very much underestimated here. So yeah, 16-1. I wonder what price. There'll definitely be a field without Integral. That 16-1 would probably translate 3 or 4 maybe. So I definitely take.
Obviously, she's got to give away the £3 penalty tomorrow to everything else in the field. How much of a burden do you think that would be? Or do you think she's the kind of horse that could get away with that?
Yeah, not a problem. She seems to be very like just a solid, just a consistent kind of horse who will just give a running every time. Didn't run so well at the end of last season, I have to admit, but back to form last month, and I think she's a very solid bet. I do like Boonga Rugita, but this is too competitive.
Yeah.
A great yardstick that is for I can't pronounce the yard. Daralambus, yeah, something like that.
I think that's how you say it anyway.
But the fact that Rosie Jessup isn't aboard is a bit of a negative, to be honest.
Yeah.
I have to say. Luke Morris is a great jockey, but Rosie Jessup rides these horses so well. She, I know she rode Ella Googler at Yarmouth recently and gave that an absolute peach. Just judged the pace so well. Very good front running jockey that one is. But Bugarita shouldn't be in a Group 3, to be honest.
Yeah, I think a bit out of depth. Integral is really shouldn't be losing a race of this caliber. Basically, the only risk you're taking is if she's fully wound up first time. Callum said before we came on air that Sir Michael Stout farms this race. He's won 5 of the last 7 renewals of it, and that form that she's got with Skylantern at the end of last year is head and shoulders the best form on offer in this race. And let's not forget, at one point she looked like she was holding Skylantern until maybe Skylantern just outstayed Integral, but Integral definitely wasn't stopping at the end of the race, and that is over the Rolling Mile. So you'd be hard pushed to find anything in this field that's going to beat Integral, and I know Callum feels exactly the same way.
Yeah, I don't see a beat if I'm honest. She's a horse I really want to keep on side this year. I just think there's a hell of a lot of improvement as a 4-year-old. She was actually still, I mean, she was only seen firstly last year, and she's not very, she's not had many races. I think
She's
six
just
races.
she's just improving with racing. I feel because when she was much younger, she was very green.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's 5 races. I think she's only had 5 races. So
Yeah.
I just think she's a potentially a Group 1 horse, and I don't see what else in the field is, if I'm honest. Like you said, Sir Michael Stout has a great record in the race, 5 wins in 7. He's only had 1 loser in that time. Eleonora Deuce was beat 5-1 co-favourite, but 5 out of 6 horses have won for him. Won this race for him, albeit plenty of them short. Dank was the only one of any significance in terms of a price. All the rest went off favourite, and in fact, her dam Echelon was the winner of this in 2007. So that'd be quite an interesting thing to see if Integral can back that up. Extra furlong should suit her. I think 9 furlongs should be an ideal trip for her, because I'll be surprised if she doesn't make waves at 10 furlongs sometime this season. But she's got the speed for a mile, and her second to Sky Lantern on just her 5th run is formed streets ahead of the rest of them. If you want something for the forecast, I think Esoteric is the second favourite, and I just think she's coming over here because they really need better ground for her. I mean, look how well she's been campaigned on better ground. They've been trying to avoid softer ground, and she disappointed a little bit when she was 11 to 10 favourite on her return. Andre Farber does like to ease them into it, and it was her first run since June. But I think she should be spot on for this, and I think she'll give the favourite the most to do. But I don't think she'll beat her.
Yeah, you do have to respect that coming over to England for this race. We always have to respect them runners. But just one more word on Integral. The only, I'm not going to say bad run, because it wasn't particularly below par. It wasn't her best. Was in the Nassau, went 7th to Win Silly. I can just forgive that very easily. It was a horrifically messy race. Remember, Skyland got no sort of run whatsoever, and I think Integral was forced out widest of all. I think it's just a horrible, horrible race to be coming from behind in, and you can just forgive that straight away. But we move on to a lovely handicap now that Michael is probably licking his lips at. 6 furlongs, 21 runners. Michael, please tell me you've got one.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm just pointing out. Are we doing the 220 from Salisbury, because that is actually on Channel 4 as well?
We'll come back to that one.
Yeah, we'll do that one at the end.
Let me have a look.
I was not aware that was on Channel 4.
No.
That's what it says on their website anyway. But in this race, I have sided with 2 horses. I know Callum's going to talk about Yao. I'm sure his cat's going to have a word to say on that one. But I like Secondo. I'm not really sure how you can choose to pronounce it. I'm sure Richard Hoyles and Simon Holt will choose one. And basically, best form comes on good to firm ground over 6 furlongs. Won at Salisbury after a return in a maiden last May, and then went in again on good to firm ground at Haydock in July. Can't see the break being a worry. James Doyle is in really, really good form. Last time out at York was second behind Lancelot du Lac, and that horse was really just winning everything in Lancelot du Lac at the tail end of last season. So I think this Secondo's got a really good chance. I'm not sure what price. Probably won't. It looks as though it's going to be favourite. Not the most interesting, but I can completely see why. I think there's a lot of improvement to come. Who's aboard? Yeah, just already spoke about James Doyle. Of the others, Yao made a really good run last time behind Fast Shot at Pontefract. I think that race was a very, very competitive handicap, actually. If you look back, there's been Louis the Pious, who was down the field in that race, came on and was second at Haydock recently. Newstead Abbey was third at Haydock as well, I think, and didn't run so well today, I think, at Goodwood. But there's some decent old handicappers in that race. I would say, like, Secondo's got a lot of improvement, as with Yao, just needs to get back to his best. And there's a few others that could, improve. But I think Secondo and Yao are the 2 to take into it. Secret in the Park, has been a bit of a cliff horse. I'm not really sure how to take that, and I'm going to leave him tomorrow, so maybe you should back him.
We have visitors.
Hello.
Becca and Adam are back from Newmarket.
Hi, Callum.
Hello, how are you doing?
We did warn you that Adam might join us halfway through the video.
Yeah, you're
Almost bang on halfway for our video. He has turned up.
Don't ask me for selections in the first couple of races. I'll be perfectly honest.
Just say integral.
Integral.
Integral. Yeah, everyone going for integral. And say integral. Everyone's going for integral. Callum, your turn to try the big handicap.
Yeah, I think try is a fair word to use, to be honest. But it's a race that takes quite a bit of winning, to be honest. I mean, it's a race I haven't had much luck in, and considering the horses that have won it, I mean, Marek won this before going on to win numerous good races. Hams has done really well since he won this last year. Pastoral Players, another horse that's try well in group company, and Hawkeye the New as well was won it the year before. So it takes a good bit of winning, and you have the unexposed horses. I mean, Secondo, who Michael mentioned, is the obvious one. His form is second to Lancelot de Lac is a really strong run. Again, I don't know if I would be wanting to back him at that price, because I think it's pretty short considering he still has to improve. He has to put a career best. Ninjago, I know we mentioned beforehand, he was really impressive on his return as a 3-year-old last year. He absolutely bolted up at Ascot. Now that could be a good angle for him if he's a horse that really needs to be best fresh. Then he could well have a big chance tomorrow. Kimberello, again, he's got a chance. Alban Star coming off a really good run on the all-weather, which he won a really valuable prize on All-Weather Champions Day. The two I like, though, there's one, an unexposed horse. I think he's got plenty more to give after a really good season last year, is Ashpan Sam for John Spearing's yard. He won 3 of his last 4 at the end of last season, all over 6 furlongs, differing from good to softer ground. Again, the form of that is pretty strong, and it was just a horse that I had in my tracker as one that I thought potentially can make his mark in better grade and potentially have more to give. So he's one I like, and also I do like Yao, who again he's in my tracker after his run last time out. He ran a really good race behind Fast Shot, who's gone in since in the at Ripon. He was third behind him and a handicap at Pontefract, and he wasn't very well drawn that day. He made a loss of ground wide, and he came on late, and he was well supported before then, and I just think that potentially he's a horse that they think they'll get a win out of him some sort of time. Joey Haynes takes off a really good £5 as well, and Colberg is a good little trainer in these sort of races. So Yao and Ashpan Sam both around 14-1 are the two for me.
Did you mention Zero Money at all in that?
No.
Because I was expecting you to mention Zero Money. I'm quite surprised you didn't actually.
He's got his ground.
Yeah, exactly. The ground,
but 5 furlong specialist for me.
He goes well fresh as well, which is one thing that I have noted. He always seems to be thereabouts when coming off a layoff. So at 25-1 with Frankie booked, that could be a decent bet. But
I wish the owners much luck, because I mean we know them through Twitter, and but he's a 5 furlong horse. So we're talking about him today actually. A horse, some sort of like Epsom Dash. I think the Epsom Dash would be ideal for him. So
yeah. But my main selection would be Ninjago. Callum mentioned that first time out last year was a devastating side through the pack at Ascot, and at that point they were talking about maybe group races for him. If he can confirm that promise from last year, obviously he's off 101, which I think is £9 higher than when he won at Ascot, then he would take a hell of a lot of beating in this. Obviously he's going to be a really strong traveller, as he always is, but it's just whether he can find anything towards the end. But a 9-1 I think is a fair enough price. Obviously Richard Hannon's in fantastic form after winning the big race with Night of Thunder today. Well done. But yeah, the yard are in fantastic form. Richard Hughes takes the ride. 9-1 about him I think is a more than fair price. But for each way, the ironically named Zero Money will hopefully be providing not that. Have you got anything?
No, not yet.
No.
I'll tweet my selections for the Channel 4 races later. So
Adam will tweet later. And now we move on to a race that I know we all have a very keen fancy in, namely because of mine. The 1,000 guineas. Now, Callum, I won't mention Kiyoshi. Oh, damn it. I'm really sorry.
That was mean.
I'm really sorry.
That's really mean.
they changed the jockey from J.V. Spencer to Doubtful.
He's a really good jockey though. He's
Yeah, I do like Doubtful. Oh, he's also booked to ride Ali Teague.
yeah, he's got really long legs. But yeah, as Callan said there, Ali Teague and Kyoshi, the two that are out, as well as the 20, I think, that were confirmed as non-runners the other day. But Michael, have you got any strong fancy in this?
In the 1,000 guineas, I've narrowed it down to kind of 3. Although I think I'll only back 2. I'm not really sure. Bracelet's been the one I landed on in the end. I was really impressed with her win when she beat Alan Senior, which I know Callum liked. And I think she was very tenderly handled then on soft ground. I don't think people have been saying soft ground is what she requires. I don't think that's true because I don't think anything really wanted that in that race. But she was dealt with very, very well, and I was really impressed that day. I don't think it's a negative that she's the second of the O'Brien 2 because if I'm incorrect, wasn't Homecoming Queen the second of the O'Brien 2 a couple of years ago? And Ryan Moore takes the reins. That is not the problem whatsoever. Of the others, I think Itimel's been a bit underrated. People are saying he needs to prove he acts on the turf. Well, he was only 2 lengths behind Rosina in the what was it? The race that Crescelium won anyway.
Yeah.
And just gone away and absolutely thrashed them in Dubai since. I would say he probably does need a bit further, but in a quick gallop could close very quickly as he was doing behind Rosina that day. So for me, it's Bracelet, Itimel. I do like Lucky Cristal. George Mark says that she in fact is to go into.
There we go.
I'm so bad with getting it messed up. And obviously beat Rosina over six furlongs. So Lucky Cristal, I think, has been possibly a bit neglected in the market in comparison to Rosina. But it's very open. It's very open tomorrow in comparison to what the market said today. But that didn't really turn out as the bookmakers expected. So maybe it will go to the favourite tomorrow. But I think Bracelet's my main selection with Itimel going to be an each way one.
Yeah, well, I do like Lucky Cristal, although obviously the only doubt you can have over her, obviously she's got class, but she just needs to confirm that she stays. But I don't think that'll be too much of a worry, if I'm honest. The one that I really am quite keen on is Euro Charlene, who after the Nail Gwyn, I was standing in the parade ring with Callum. And Euro Charlene came back in, and you wouldn't have guessed that she had a race at all. She was really unlucky. Arguably should have beaten Sandiva that day. But it was her first run for Team Valor, who bought her seemingly for a guineas, not necessarily this one, but then they supplemented her afterwards. And I backed her at 150 to 1. And I'm not after timing. I did put this on Twitter at the time. I just have to say that. And I know Callum got on at a good price as well. And no one told me to do that. That was completely off my own backing. I bet. What are you doing?
I encouraged you that she was being supplemented.
But it was my money.
Yeah, it was. You wouldn't have known unless I told you.
Anyway, Euro Charlene, of course, my own backing. But that was over 7. This is over a mile, which will suit. I still think 16 to 1 is a bit too big. Obviously, she has to really confirm that she's top class. I don't think there'll be any worries about that. I think she's more than ready to step up. She had her first 2 runs at Wolverhampton, which is a bit of a weird way to go about a prep for Group 1s, but obviously Toast of New York, it worked for him. Adam Kirby takes the ride, which is no negative whatsoever. I just think that Euro Charlene's got class written all over her, and still 16 to 1 is a big price about her, and probably a race that you could fancy a lot in there. But I think the ones at the top of the market are now too short, and I just think there's value in 16 to 1. I don't know how much more you want to add to that, Callum.
I think Rosina's still pretty short. I know she's drifted a touch this evening, but I mean, all her form doesn't look enough to suggest that she's, say, should be double, like Tapestry should be double the price of her, Itamel should be double the price of her, and what Kiyoshi was, you know. So, yeah, I think Rosina will run really well, but I think she's vulnerable to something better because she's no world beater. I mean, she was beaten 3 times as a 2-year-old, and she started out very early, and she was absolutely rapid, and you know, she'll stay a mile fine, but whether she's progressed, I'm not convinced. I don't like the 2 French lot. the Miss France, I cannot have her. I think her form behind Lightning Thunder is highly suspect in the so sharp stakes, a race where horses coming into the Guineas have a very poor record. And Vorder is a sprinter for me, and I don't have her progressing. I wasn't impressed by her return either. I mean, she should have won that. The O'Brien too, I think possibly Oaks fillies rather than Guineas horses, but I prefer Bracelet a lot more as a prospect because Tapestry's by Galileo out of Rumpelstiltskin, and Rumpelstiltskin was a good 2-year-old herself, and then she ran into Guineas, went off favourite and was beaten quite comfortably and never seen again. So that's a little doubt for me on Tapestry. Bracelet, I've backed anti-post for the Oaks and hope she runs well, but she might be vulnerable tomorrow. Lucky Crystal, I think, has got to go onto the short list. Itimal will probably be the one I'll back now. I like her. She was really impressive in Dubai. Twice she was impressive in Dubai, but she was beating very average horses. Let's be frank about it. But she was third to Crescelium, who I think would have absolutely thrashed these lot, and Rosina was in between the two of them. But she just didn't look right that day, and I think she can do better. She doesn't deserve to be 11-1 if Rosina deserves to be 9-2. I agree with your sentiments on Euro Charlene. I think she's got a pretty good chance, and B Times is definitely worth some sort of money. I've just watched her debut again, and I liked it, and she has the feeling a bit of a Gennati in that, coming off a Lingfield maiden win and going into the Guineas. She's got a mark of 86 on the handicap, and why are they ruining that mark of 86, or potentially ruining that mark of 86 if they didn't think she was up to it? So she's bred for the part. 33-1, I think, is definitely worth a bet.
Yeah, and you actually do have a fancy in this one. You're with me on Euro Charlene.
Yes, I am. Well, unfortunately, the first two fancies I had in this race, I had my Titania had been on for a long time. We get to 2 days before the Guineas, and she's not running. I then changed my mind and I look through the field again and I think, oh, Amazing Maria's got a really nice profile and is a very impressive winner at Goodwood last season. Withdrawn. So I had a look through the field, and I just think that Euro Charlene will improve the step up in trip to a mile, and has potential for a lot of improvement. I also want to mention Joyous as well. I think she will appreciate the step up to a mile as well, but whether 20-1 is big enough, I'm not sure. Of those at the top of the market, I'd rather be on Bracelet because I thought she was really impressive at Leopardstown when she beat Balancia. Is a horse that Callum really likes, and it's a shame she's not come over because I think I'd have been keen on her as well on this better ground as well. So my likely winner, I probably would go with Euro Charlene actually.
Yeah, it's not a great thing that Adam's actually agreeing with me on that.
Yeah.
Not every
Well, we all agreed on Night of Thunder.
Well, didn't you only back Night of Thunder because of Becca?
Well, no, not really.
She said yes. She said yes. I'm just saying.
Yeah, because she said he actually looked better in the paddock. I mean, because
he looked fantastic. Yeah.
The thing was, before the race as well, I considered Outstrip and Night of Thunder, and I backed both in the end, and one won and one came last.
You sandwiched the whole field.
Yeah, I sandwiched the whole field. It's a talent. So
in the Greenham, Night of Thunder looked
atrocious,
but he actually still ran quite a good race.
Yeah.
So, and I'd said all along, if he looks really well, then I think if he's doing that, he look really well.
I'd also like to add as well, in the paddock as well, Becca chose the first, second, and third as the best three turned out in the exact order. Why you didn't do that? I don't know.
They would have broken their legs if I'd done
that.
And I've been told, apparently, the 220 at Salisbury is also on Channel 4.
Yeah.
Why?
Adam knows that.
Do any of us have any particular strong fancies in the 220 at Salisbury?
Not really.
Not particularly strong, but I do like Duchess of Gaisley becoming a bit of a sentimentality now. Always been eye-catching for me on the all-weather over the winter. Didn't run very well last time out, but I think soft ground is fine. She won by nearly 5 lengths on soft ground. I can't remember what my notes have gone. Here they are. Perfect trip, I think this is, because it's soft ground over this kind of distance. I'm not quite sure where that one was at, but that was impressive. Fit from the all-weather. Quite a few of these, in fact. All of them, bar Ridgeway Storm and Spice Fair and Duchess of Gaisley, are coming off long absences. I don't think it's got much strength in depth, and I think finally Duchess of Gaisley could actually win for me, but I really don't know. that's possibly being a bit hopeful because she really needs to reward me with something.
That's more you chasing your money, is it?
Yeah, I think so. I still think she's got a good chance, but maybe I'm being a bit blinded.
Well, look what won the race last year.
Yeah.
Sun Central won it last year, and you look at that field, and you.
At a quick glance, I take a chance on Ridgeway Storm, who's first time in a handicap for Alan King, and has been notably stepped up in trip as well. Fergus Sweeney takes the ride. Opening the mark of 79 isn't the highest thing in order. I don't know a great deal about the horse, but first time in a handicap for Alan King, who's been doing fairly well on the flat lately. Had a good winner at Epsom the other day. Chocala also has been in grand form on the level as well. I'd take a chance on Ridgeway Storm, but it's a race that I would have to look more at to back anything with any sort of confidence. Callum, do you want to throw a dart at anything?
Yeah, on the note of Sun Central, there was a Cesarewitch winner in third in Scatterdice in that race as well. So it's a race that looked really good last year and doesn't look very good this year, if I'm honest. Nicholas Copernicus, I think, could potentially be better than his mark. Slightly down in trip. Albert Bridge is a bit of a cliff horse of mine. Really fancied him for the Cesarewitch, to be honest, and didn't run very well. So, but he's won over hurdles since. So, if he's ready, I think those are the two. Especially he'll like the ground, especially, and Nicholas Copernicus goes on it. But it doesn't look a particularly good race.
No, it doesn't look the strongest race for Channel 4 to choose. We have a question, and we had one from Sunil Kumar earlier on as well. That Bracelet, he fancies Bracelet in the race, and I think Callum, you touched on her earlier on, didn't you? You gave her a bit of a chance.
Yeah, I like her for the Oaks. I've backed her for the Oaks, but look, I'd have fancied Ballantyre if she ran in this. So, and she beat Ballantyre last time out, so there's no reason why I would be against her. But I should be backing her really.
And another question from, I think his name is Jake Acaster or Acaster. My apologies if I've completely ballsed up your name. We'll call you Jake. French Raiders who have won the QIPCO Stakes have a reasonable record in the 2,000 guineas. I'm not sure about that one. The 1,000 guineas. He can't write border off. Obviously, Callum earlier, you said that you think she's a sprinter. I actually agree with you on that as well. I thought
she's small. She's really small. I don't think she's trained on, and she would have been fit as anything to win that trial, and she didn't. I cannot see her being good enough.
I thought she had a blinding chance when she went to America, but just didn't run a race for whatever reason over there and was beaten way too early for.
Could be wrong, but you know, I'm willing to be proven wrong.
Obviously, she's a class filly, so. But she would have to prove that she stays for me. But that's all the racing done for today. I don't know if we found you another 40-1 winner, but 16-1 for Euro Charlene is well worth a few each way pennies on. But anything else that you guys wanted to add before the end of the show?
Naps.
Just naps.
Yeah, naps.
Let's see the next jacket, damn, you heard it first.
I think you've said that already.
Yeah, I know, but you won today, so I could say it again.
I know Callum's going to go for Cafe Society.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the same as Callum. So I will take Euro Charlene each way. Michael?
Oh, it's really difficult.
I bet you haven't got the Naughty Lucky 15 either.
I have.
Oh, okay, do that then, do that.
Much better than yesterday. Hamilton, the 410, Saved by the Bell, and the 520, Busy Bimbo, and Salisbury, the 220, Whiplash Willie, and the 435, Saucy Minx.
Saucy Minx. That one's named after you, isn't it, Saucy Minx?
Yeah, it is actually.
And do you have a nap for us, or are you just going to leave it at Naughty Lucky 15?
I think I'm just going to leave it at Naughty Lucky 15. It's difficult. I'll just go Bracelet, to be honest. Bracelet each way, because there's nothing that sticks out as nap material in the earlier races.
Fair enough.
It's worth mentioning the international races tomorrow morning, which look fantastic. There's the Champions Mile at Chartin, which has
Darwish in there.
Gordon Lord Byron for a start. And obviously horses with better chances such as Mashawish. So
there's some French yoke.
Also Zaydan, who was a massive favourite of mine when trained by Clyde Britton. There's Variety Club in there, winner at Meydan last time out in the Godolphin Mile, and an Able Friend who has really strong form with Designs from Rome, who won the big race the other week. and in Kyoto, where Red Cato runs in the Tenno show over 2 miles, which is interesting. And there's also the ARC third Kizuna also running in the race.
Fair enough. So an international deal if you want to get up ridiculously early in the morning.
And there's some decent races in America as well.
Ridiculously early in the
tonight.
morning on a Sunday.
It's 9:30.
Ridiculously early. I know Michael won't be up at that time anyway.
He will be. He'll be watching.
Definitely will not be. Wobbia's tweeted in saying, quoting me, sorry if I balls up your name, and then he got angry that we call him Wobbia. Hi, I'm Wobbia. we love Wobbia, really. But before this one gets too off track and just into bullying Wobbia, as we normally do, we will end the show and quit while we're ahead.
You haven't done me that.
Yeah.
I haven't got one.
I did Euro Styling each way.
Yeah, you did.
Because you
Okay.
cheered it.
I haven't
Okay,
got
yeah.
one.
That's my nap as well, actually.
Yes.
I'll tweet one on Twitter.
Yeah.
It'll probably lose like the one did today in the short.
Yeah, did better than mine did.
Yeah, true.
I was beating the neck. So before this gets out of hand, Callum, are you at the ready?
No, wait.
Callum.
I'm ready now. I'm ready now.
Thank you everyone for watching. We hope to see you next week when we're previewing. Is it the Swinton Hurdle next?
Yeah, and the Victoria Cup.
Back to jumping and then
And the Victoria Cup at Ascot as well.
Callum will be ecstatic.
So good flat races. There's good flat races. So
whatever needle you stick in the Victoria Cup. But thank you very much for watching. We hope to see you next week. From all of us here on The Other Hoof. Goodbye.
Bye.